Hey, welcome back, everybody. Of course, this is Dr. Keith McNally, and I am going through a six-part video series on effective PBL learning strategies for students. And so I talked the first time about risk-taking and failing, meaning for students to go through a PBL activity or really any learning, especially new learning, there's going to be some trial and error and some failure along the way. It's about taking risk. So eventually what we're attempting to do is build lifelong learners in our students. We want them to be excited about learning. We want them to understand the value of learning and in pursuit of new things, because eventually when they become adults and are accountable for themselves and responsible for themselves or others and all that kind of stuff, when they get into the workplace, they're not going to stop learning. They have to learn something new, especially in IT or any other work environment where things change. I know I come from an IT background and technology changes all the time. Now, that sounds cliche, but actually it's the truth, and we could see it all around us. So, with the uh, encroachment, and I guess that's the right word, of artificial intelligence, machine learning, and just things getting better, stronger, and faster, i.e., the $6 million man, we have a lot of change. And so that means when I go to work every day, I need to be aware of the changes in technology so that I can talk sensibly and intelligently to my students about what's going on in industry. Now, that was risk taking and learning things new and knowing that failure is part of the learning process. Number two is collaboration. So, one of the things that we have to really teach our students is how to work well with others. Now, that's not inherent to many people. I'm not going to say all people, because some people actually do know and understand and value cooperation and collaboration. So, for those of us who don't do it well, or or I should say, for those of anybody who doesn't do it well. So this is again going back to my fear of failure in my initial video, saying these are all one shots. I may actually do the video wrong, but I'm trying to do it right. So I say that to say collaboration is a valuable tool in the learning experience, and it eventually is going to become a valuable tool in the workplace. Not so much just being on teams and doing your own thing and then providing that one thing as input into the team. No, collaborating in a team environment. It doesn't matter what type of team environment. It could be a workplace, it could be academic, it could be cross-cultural, cross-department. It doesn't really matter. You have to learn how to work with others, and that's actually a skill set. So there are things that you need to think about. There are words that you need to say. There are things that you need to do. There are verbal and nonverbal communication skill sets that you need to bring to the table. And I don't necessarily always like using that cliche, but again, collaboration is a skill set. Okay. We need to teach that to our students, our young people, regardless of age. So if our young people are college students and they're only accustomed to studying on their own, taking tests on their own, or doing something and adding that something to a team project, they're going to be left out and they're not going to be the best team partners. Okay. So we need to learn how to ask, what are the responsibilities? What is the goal? What is the purpose? How are people going to do their jobs? Who's going to be accountable for what? Who's responsible for what? What are the deadlines? These are all the things that are associated with, typically we call it project management skills, but essentially when it boils down to it, these are team collaboration skills, okay? So we need to know how to lead, we need to know how to follow, we need to know how to talk, we need to know how to trust, and we need to know how to delegate. So these are 5 things that I typically talk about when I teach collaboration to students. Meaning what? Meaning we need to know how to use certain words, okay? And those words could easily be I will do, I need you to do, we need to focus on this. And those words need to be very clear, concise, and directive. It's okay to provide direction. Teams need direction. The goal of a team is to do something, and that's actually inherent into the definition. We don't just sit around talking. That's just kind of a chat. That's not a team focused on producing something, solving a problem, or doing something, whatever that something is. Okay. You need to talk about what that something is and provide a avenue to achieve it. Okay. We also need to be able to delegate. Delegating responsibility, sharing responsibility, aligning strengths with things to do, is all valuable part of that teamwork, that collaborative work. We need to be able to delegate responsibility and assume responsibility for the work that we've been given or assumed. If we take on an objective, we need to be accountable to self and say, I can do this and I can do this well, or I can't do this well. We also want to talk about leading. It's okay to step up. If you are in a leading or a leader position, you can lead. If you're in a follower position, you should follow. And sometimes it's okay to switch up. Sometimes it's important when working in academic teams to share the leadership skill or share the leadership role among all the team members. Why? Because you need to get practice. It's not just, well, I'm going to lead because I got all the ideas. Well, no, you don't, because no one person knows everything and no one person can do everything. So supporting each other in your efforts, knowing that you have a responsibility, but you can also be the support and the drive and the leader to get something done by holding others accountable. But at the same time, when it's time to follow, you need to hold yourself accountable, be able to follow somebody else's direction, and be okay with that. That's actually a skill set. And then finally, after talking and delegating and leading and following, you really need to trust. So a lot of times, especially in academic teams, somebody wants to do all of the work because they think they have all the skills necessary or that their work is better than others. And sometimes that really is the case. However, that's not always the case. And you have to learn how to trust, put trust in somebody else, in your team members, and then support them because you want them as a team member, you want them to do well. You don't want to overwork yourself, especially in the leadership position. But also team members need to support each other, provide feedback, provide guidance, provide direction, because eventually that person needs to do something, because as a whole, the team is designed to produce something, solve a problem, or at least get something done. So there's 5 key elements in collaboration. So you need to talk, and that's communicating both verbally and non-verbally. You should be able to delegate and take ownership and responsibility and accountability for your role. You should learn leadership and you should learn followership, and eventually, and most importantly, probably, you need to be able to put trust in your team members, because without that, the team's not going to work well. Okay, so that's number 2 in the 6 learning strategies involved in PBL. I'll see you back for the next one. Take care.